5 people went into the sea in a Titan submarine at 9:30 a.m. on June 18, 2023. Titanic wreckage was their destination. Titanic sank 100 years ago. Extreme adventure tourism is pricey. The submarine excursion cost each passenger almost $20 million for a few hours. This tour is pricey because the Titanic wreck is deep in the sea, specifically 3810 meters underwater. A submarine began its trip underwater. Reaching 3810 meters takes 2 hours. This submarine signals the Polar Prince support ship every 15 minutes. Their sole connection to the world was this. This submarine lost communication with the support ship after 1 hour and 45 minutes of diving into the sea on June 18. At 4:30 p.m., when the submarine should have returned from its tour, it is gone. The Polar Prince team notified the U.S. Coast Guard at 7:10 p.m. Then a 4-day multinational hunt began. A massive search and rescue operation is conducted to find this submarine. Aircraft, ships, and robots were employed. One question occupied everyone. What became of these passengers? The U.S. Coast Guard says Titan debris has been brought to the surface from the ocean floor. The debris is consistent with a catastrophic pressure chamber loss. Subscribe to our channel before watching. Let's comprehend the Titan Submersible's narrative. This submarine vanished near Canada in the Atlantic Ocean, 600 kilometers from Canadian island Newfoundland. The Titanic's 2 halves are here in the ocean. The bow and stern are 800 meters apart. The Titan submarine that vanished was a submersible. These 2 words are alike. I've been simplifying things by saying submarine, yet these 2 words are extremely different. Submarines power themselves. They may enter and exit the water independently using a port. A submersible cannot do that. A support ship is needed to launch and retrieve a submersible. A ship in the water that controls everything. Our support ship was Polar Prince. OceanGate, commanded by Stockton Rush, ran this entire enterprise. Remember their name because he's crucial to the plot. He worked as an aircraft engineer. Then he started OceanGate in 2009, a private firm that offered deep-sea tourism to the rich. This company began conducting Titanic excursions in July 2021. Visitors will dive to control sonar communication equipment, take photos, and find data. They previously toured other shipwrecks and locations. Besides the Titanic, their website lists expeditions to Azores and Bahamas. Titan was not this company's only submersible. OceanGate possessed 2 more submersibles, Antipodes and Cyclops. Antipodes reached 304 meters and Cyclops 500 meters. Titan was meant to go 4 kilometers underwater. This is why just this submarine went to the Titanic. To imagine 3,800's terrifying depth. Check out this Washington Post chart. Measurements are in feet. Normal male height is 6 feet. The iceberg that hit the Titanic was 100 feet above water and several times underwater. Recreational scuba divers can dive to 130 feet. A twilight zone begins after 650 feet, where just a little light may reach the water. Deepest underwater rescue operation ever was 1,600 feet. Giant squids swim 2,600 feet. The terrifying giant squids appear like they came from another planet. View the images. After 3,800 feet, a midnight zone begins. Sunlight never goes below this. After that, everything goes black. Around 4 degrees Celsius is the water temperature. If you descend 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10, and 12 feet, you reach the ocean floor, where the Titanic wreck is. Pressure at this depth is over 400 times surface pressure. The design of any submersible that goes this deep should be carefully considered. The window's outer glass could only be this big. The Titan submarine's viewport was the largest private submersible window. The Titan submarine was small. Only 5 persons could fit. The carbon fiber hull was its main body. The end has 2 titanium covers. It was about 6.7 meters long. It weighed almost 10,000 kilograms. Its design had 4 electric thrusters outdoors. It had 2 horizontal and 2 vertical controls. This sub was controlled by a video game controller, which is interesting. You control everything with this game controller. Come on. Not as strange as it sounds. The US Navy uses Xbox controllers to control their submarines and periscopes, which are viewports. The entire Titan submarine was controlled by a video game controller. The underwater submersible pilot used this video game controller. Inside, there were no seats, but a little toilet was supplied near the viewpoint. They genuinely said that if someone needed the toilet, others would have to face the other way because there was no barrier. Watching TV while using the toilet. The deep diving submersible has only this toilet. In-house. Look out the viewport. GPS doesn't work in these deep water submersibles, so pull the privacy screen and turn up the music. Text messaging connected them to their support ship. It is unknown which internet connection the ship had. OceanGate had tweeted that they were utilizing Starlink to communicate. On June 18, this submersible carried 5 persons. First was 58-year-old British billionaire Hamish Harding, adventurer and 3-time Guinness World Record holder. He visited the South Pole with Buzz Aldrin in 2016. His deepest ocean dive was 4 hours into Mariana Trench. He participated in Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin suborbital trip last year. Second passenger was 77-year-old Paul Henry Nargeolet, former French Navy commander. He visited the Titanic 37 times. His title was Titanic Underwater Research Director. The third and fourth passengers were British-Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his 19-year-old son Suleiman. One of Pakistan's largest corporations was his. Suleiman's aunt said he was afraid to go. He traveled with his father to delight him and keep him company. As mentioned, the submersible spoke with the support ship every 15 minutes that day. This conversation ended at 11:15 a.m. We got no signal or communication after this. Even so, the Titan was slated to resurface at 4:30 p.m. as planned. If this submersible got stuck in the sea, passengers could tilt and push it to raise it. Remove the ballasts. Big ships and submarines need ballasts for stability. They are heavyweights only. With their help, submarines can dive. In the past, stones and sandbags were ballasts. Submarines employ water ballasts now. Water in ballast tanks makes submarines heavier and sinks them. After the Titan did not resurface at 4:30 p.m., the support ship waited and informed the U.S. Coast Guard at 7:10 p.m. Then began the big race. Race against time. Titan had 4 days of oxygen after 96 hours. If a rescue effort was needed, they had 4 days to save passengers. Ships have emergency position indicating radio beacons, EPIRBs, to locate them. But Titan didn't have it. Even if Titan had risen to the surface, those inside would have died from oxygen deficiency. It was impossible to open this submersible from within. You heard right. The submersible's door could only be locked and unlocked from outside. Whether the submersible was submerged or surfaced, those 4 days were crucial. The crew closes the hatch with 17 bolts from outside. Additionally, the search area was 25 km. What a challenge to find a van-sized submersible in such a large area. It was 7 times larger than GO. In 1973, the deepest underwater rescue occurred at 480 meters. Still, rescue teams risked their lives. This mission began with 2 American and 2 Canadian planes. They used sonar to identify undersea signals. 3 ships started the search from the surface, but more joined in later. A few remote-controlled automobiles also used ROVs. No one sits in these robot-like vehicles, yet they can dive underwater and find items. They are controlled from the water's surface. 3 ROVs sought Titan. On day 3 of the hunt, a Canadian aircraft's sonar heard thumping noises. At half-hour intervals, door knocking was heard. U.S. Coast Guard detected the sounds later. Finally, on June 22, a ROV scanning the ocean floor found wreckage, around 490 meters from Titanic's bow. The debris proved the submersible split apart. Its passengers died. 5 debris fragments were found after further searching. The U.S. Coast Guard stated in a press conference the same day that the Titan submersible did not cause the thumping noises. The conclusion was that strong pressure imploded Titan. You might assume implosion means exploding. It is the antithesis of an explosion. An outbreak or eruption, like a bomb explosion, is called an explosion. Force radiates. However, implosion forces are inward. Squeezing causes separation. That's implosion. In a moment, catastrophic implosion demolished the entire structure. Its passengers were killed instantly but didn't feel it. What caused this implosion? As said, the Titan's main body was carbon fiber. Most submarines and submersibles are steel, titanium, or aluminum. Titan's carbon fiber design was experimental. Carbon fiber characteristics had never been evaluated in such deep ocean waters. This incident shows that carbon fiber is unsuitable for this use case. According to maritime explorer Robert Ballard, the 1985 Titanic wreck finder, he said they did thousands of vehicle dives to reach the ocean floor. They'd never lost a car. No submarine or submersible had ever imploded this manner. According to James Cameron, director of Titanic and Avatar, if you look at our history, it's safer to be in a submarine like Alvin that I spent many years in than driving on I-95. His words were identical. Titanium caps remained intact on the seafloor. This finishes our today's video. Subscribe to us now for more amazing content.